Second, on CaptainZack's Twitter account, a document was released detailing the unwanted sexual activity going on between CaptainZack and the professional Smash Bros. Player Nairo.
I see people in my replies talking like, you were raised right? Like, what were your parents doing? I see people saying like, you will be a predator too one day.
Nairo, one of the biggest names in the Smash scene, broke his silence recently to refute the allegations made against him. And it got me thinking, what's next for Smash?
As many of you know, I've been handling things legally in the last half year, and I want to announce now that we've reached a legal agreement.
When it comes to numbers, I only know how to add and subtract, not even divide.
A lot of these comments, people are asking, oh, well, you know, can Nairo come back to the community? I don't think that's the question you should be asking. It's more like, would he want to come back to the community?
I've been reviewing the case file on this for a while now, and I've finally come to the conclusion that this entire story is gay as hell. And I don't mean that in the derogatory sense, I mean like, there's literally a bunch of gay shit going on. And good for them. Well, not in this case because they're underage, but you know what I mean when I say good. Forget it. When people first think, haha Smash player pedo XD, what first comes to mind? That's right, CaptainZack. A story of crime, lies, betrayal, but most importantly, gaming. While most people would have you believe that the story has reached its natural conclusion as the once king reclaims his empty throne, pieces of the corrupt tale still lay scattered throughout the shared consciousness of the community at large. My job is to help put them back in place. But before we can see the big picture, we need to know who and what exactly we're dealing with. To give you a brief rundown, CaptainZack is notorious for seducing and entrapping older men within the Smash Bros. Community, all at the ripe age of 15. If you think that wording's kind of harsh, just remember this is the same kid who lied to thousands of people regarding the situation and admitted to abusing his circumstance to blackmail one of the players involved. That, of course, being Ally. But I'm not here to tell you what you already know. I'm here to tell you what you need to know, and in order to do that, we need to take a little closer look at some familiar faces. Salem. Someone who really should have picked a better name, because the irony here is seriously incredible. Salem was implicated in this unfortunate series of events back in April of 2017, when Zack would, in graphic detail, describe his sexual exploits with Nairo. The authenticity and identities of these messages have already been verified by both parties involved.
They are true, but the only ones that were true were the Discord screenshots.
This in and of itself isn't really a problem. The real problem begins with Salem's replies. Eventually, my arm brushed across his dick. He said, "Bussy wet. Oh my lord, this is so cute, but so savage at the same time." Okay, important note. Actually, not that important. I sleep in underwear and a shirt, so I don't know how that affects anything. Makes the story more juicy. Makes the story more juicy? If I ever said that shit to a 15-year-old unironically after they told me about how they sleep in their underwear, I'd either be on a list or a tree. Let the record show that Salem did apologize for just how weird these messages were and promised to never let it happen again.
But I'm very, very sorry, and I do mean that. I shouldn't have been talking to a minor about those things, like, at all. I'm disappointed in myself.
Also at this point in time, make note that Nairo is 20 years old, Salem is 22, and Zack is, of course, 15. Salem's defense primarily is that he had no idea of Nairo's age at the time and just assumed it was a story between two consenting teens. Ah, the "I'm a fucking dumbass" defense. I like that, Salem. So in actuality, you weren't in the wrong at all, because anyone would be entirely comfortable listening for over half an hour about how a 15-year-old laps up cum and jerks off another 15-year-old. Totally normal and well-adjusted behavior. I'm so sorry if I misrepresented you, Salem. My fault, homie. For this to be true, that would mean that after a decade of playing against Nairo, all of their interactions on Twitter, and even telling him happy birthday the same year that this occurred, he never once saw or talked about his age or got a rough estimation ever. The likelihood that this isn't all just bullshit is incredibly slim. I mean, who is Nairo? fucking Ash Ketchum? If you fast forward through all the crying and his entire life story, you'll find his most recent twitlonger where supposedly Matty G threatens his inclusion in Salem's twitlonger with a video of him getting Zack drunk, which Salem neither denies or admits, and simply apologizes for the possibility of it happening. That's pretty fucking suspicious if you ask me. When the penalty for giving a minor alcohol in Florida is a second-degree misdemeanor, a $500 fine, and 60 days in jail, you'd think that jog his memory a little, but that's just my opinion. Whoever proofread this must have really fucking hated you. At this point in time, Salem is only banned by 3 tournament organizers and is still with his sponsor, MVG. Leave it to Smash players, am I right? While Salem might have a pathetic backstory about abuse and being uneducated thanks to homeschool, seriously, 30 minutes, dude? Get over yourself, everyone has it rough. The sexual nature of his conversations with someone far younger than him, and what can only be described as a possible self-indictment of supplying alcohol to a minor, I believe this is more than enough evidence to conclude that Salem is weird as fuck and should probably not be around kids. Whoa, where the fuck do you think you're going? Thanks to your pal Salem over here, we're just getting started. No one seems to remember our good friend Samsora. At first I couldn't tell if everyone memory hold what he did, or just couldn't be fucked to read. And honestly, I don't blame him. Samsora was one of Zack's closest friends, and was aware of every scandal from dating a 26-year-old ally to the sexual encounter with Nairo. However, according to Samsora, he would constantly tell him how these relationships with adults were immoral. Probably between bites of popcorn as they all went out to watch Detective Pikachu together. It's acceptable in this community to not report predators, so I'm not even gonna ask why this is happening. Instead, I want to divert your attention to all the holes in Samsora's story and see if we can reach a verdict just like we did with Salem. On September 15th, 2020, Samsora would release a twitlonger titled Speaking My Truth, where he'd attempt to make his case for his innocence and defend against the allegations Tamim made the day before. For someone with a 6th grade education, you sure as hell use the words complicit and not pretty liberally. Agreeing to a cover story between you, Nairo, and Zack and covering up a felony for 3 years? Yeah, I definitely call that complicit. Trust me, the moral dilemma you're having between best friends gets a lot simpler once you enter the courthouse. But you already know that, don't you, Samsora? Because thanks to your friend Salem's pathetic excuse for a twitlonger, we now have textual evidence of you trying to cover up any involvement you had in this entire thing. I mean, fuck, Louisiana don't play. If I was gonna be fined $500 and spend 6 months in prison, I'd probably try to hide it too. At the time of recording this, I didn't know that this statute was only for mandatory reporters, which would be people that work in a field with children. There was actually a revision to the law in Louisiana in 2016 that, let me tell ya, makes it a lot fucking worse. Any person who is 18 years of age or older who witnesses the sexual abuse of a child and knowingly and willfully fails to report this sexual abuse to law enforcement or to the Department of Children and Family Services, as required by Children's Code Article 610, shall be fined not more than $10,000, imprisoned with or without hard labor for not more than 5 years, or both. So you better hope nobody follows up on this shit, god damn! I honestly think that this is enough on its own, but just for the sake of entertainment, let's go for the second biggest reason why Samsora is a piece of shit.
Oh my god, Technicals is biased. I can't watch this.
You're fucking right I am. Fuck child abuse and anyone that tries to cover that shit up. I'm not your friend. In October, Nairo would post about the revelation he had in therapy and how the story was no longer a risque sexual encounter with a minor, but in fact rape, of which Nairo was the victim. This story might sound familiar. That's because we already heard it from both Tamim and Samsora back in September. I talked with Nairo after the allegations happened to see how he truly felt about the situation, how he felt he was betrayed, how he didn't know what to do with his life and that everything was over. Nairo expressed to me how everything in Zack's twitlonger was a lie. Nairo told me he was asleep when Zack randomly touched him, and that he was paralyzed and didn't know what to do, and that he let Zack proceed. On this account, Nairo is lying, and Tamim and Lima got their information from Nairo and framed it as coming from Zack. Nairo told me the same exact wording that Tamim and Lima put into the timeline, which means they got this information from Nairo and twisted it to fit their narrative. All of Tamim's allegations are hearsay and assumptions. Samsora had already heard this story and decided based on the information he had that Nairo and everyone else But Zack, a known pathological liar and blackmailer, mind you, was lying. Fast forward to February 19th of this year, when Nairo posted his video Moving Forward. That same day, Samsora posted an apology, and it starts by saying, "Nairo, I am so sorry for being a terrible friend. I should have asked you for the full story, but I didn't. I was misguided as a result, and that clearly showed in my statement." Did I read that correctly? Because according to what Nairo posted in October, and what you directly addressed and called a lie months before, that was the full story. So tell me, Ezra, are you lying now, or were you lying then? Nairo's video didn't add anything to the story. All he said was how they reached a legal agreement.
As many of you know, I've been handling things legally in the last half year, and I want to announce now that we've reached a legal agreement. Everything is fully resolved, and I am now able to move forward with my life.
Which doesn't mean anything. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's an agreement. That could be money, confidentiality, literally anything. A legal agreement does not say which person is right in the situation. So why, I ask, is Samsora all of a sudden flipping the script? There's two working theories. One, the public shift of opinion made it necessary to support Nairo, and the likelihood that anyone would remember what he said 5 months ago is very low. Or two, the fact that Zack was now seen as a perpetrator was the perfect opportunity to try to distance himself from any legal liability and instead replace it with concern for a harmed friend. Either way you look at it, Samsora lied and tried to cover his tracks under the guise of friendship because even he knew how illegal what he was doing is. Considering that Samsora is closer friends with Zack than Salem, I think it's safe to assume that he knew about every questionable relationship and yet never said anything about any one of them. This is kind of personal, but I feel like if top figureheads of the Smash community can all come together to denounce a YouTuber saying nut and pretending to jerk off in a YouTube video, then it shouldn't be too hard to call out someone hiding and lying about child abuse. I mean, you guys are the educated pillars of morality. I could have sworn someone who actually gave a shit would have covered this before me. Come on, guys. Any takers? Void, I see you back there. Esam, I know you want to be a hero. DeBuzz, don't you dare lick those lips now. As of now, Samsora has not been confronted at all on this topic. The verdict? Guilty as fuck. Next. I've been waiting a long time to do this. Woo! Oh, fuck, that's fucking loud. Woo! While being a minor naturally affords you with certain protections and privileges, abusing that good faith and manipulating thousands in the process revokes the benefit of the doubt you would have had you not done that. At 100 bad times, what's another time to me? You take everything you give me. It's gonna take more than that to kill me, babe. What's another time for me? If you're not familiar with what I'm talking about, when the Ally and Zack story first broke, they both denied it. Months later, Zack posted an image of him admitting that everything Tamim leaked about the story was true, and Ally retired from competitive play shortly after. Zack, clearly hiding something, states that everything's been handled and to stop talking about the situation, because everything's good. That is until a random Twitter user would threaten to release incriminating evidence, which we would later come to realize was blackmail and emotional abuse from none other than CaptainZack. Somehow Captain Crunch still had sympathizers because he was a victim of circumstances and grooming. Well, when that circumstance repeats itself 4 times, let's just say there's a more common denominator than the adults. When the Nairo and Zack allegations first surfaced, they denied it. Classic Zack. Fortunately, it only took minutes this time for them to come clean. As we already know, Nairo changed his story from apologizing to Zack to Zack raping him and him seeking legal action with a 30-page document of evidence that only his closest friends have seen to date. While I'd really like to know what his legal agreement entails, I don't need that to tell you that Zack is full of shit. It's really easy to look like a genius when you're deconstructing the lies of an emotionally immature teenager, so try not to give me too much credit. We're gonna take a look at Zack's retelling of what happened with Nairo, and without a 30-page document, point out how he's lying through his fucking teeth. The last 2 posts on the subject Zack ever made was his Twitlonger and a live stream discussing it, of which the latter only exists in bits and pieces. Thankfully, with the help of my supercomputer, I was able to scan and cross-reference all the media on the internet to find exactly what I needed. In one of the clips I uncovered, Zack is crying while saying he felt trapped accepting the hush money that Nairo kept offering him.
And other people are like, it's your fault for accepting the money. Like, what was I supposed to do? I was offered it. I just didn't. I felt so trapped.
Even though in his own screenshots, in his Twitlonger, you could see him casually asking Nairo for money.
Like, what was I supposed to do? I was offered it.
I don't know if you know this, Zach, but in America, what we call asking for hush money is called extortion. You'd think being an expert in blackmail, he'd know that before making this retarded statement. This inaccuracy in Zach's story is already accounted for in Nairo's explanation.
Like, you guys are saying I did this on purpose. Like, I just was luring these guys in. Like, what?
Oh, I'm sorry. Did Nairo's cock fall in your mouth? My bad. I didn't realize Ally blackmailed himself. Every single relationship can be traced back to Zach being the initiator, when all of those relationships just happen to be with older men, and all of them just coincidentally have trauma from how it was handled. Wouldn't you agree that you're the one abusing your status as a minor? I mean, Tamim would certainly agree. He had constantly bragged about the men he had romanced and puppeteered. Zach had aggressively attempted to seduce countless adults in the Smash community and had been told many times by his friends to stop this nefarious act. Zach openly stated to me that during his relationship with Ally, he was not scared of people finding out because he would not be the one at fault, due to him being a minor. Me, is it just my age? Him, yeah, pretty much. You basically made me realize I wasn't straight. Me, takes burger and kills self with it. Oh my god, I still got my dick. I'm a god. I'm so happy. Again, this can be found among the things Zach himself posted. He looked at this shit and said, yeah, blatant narcissism? Yeah, post that shit. Another inconsistency is how Zach told Salem that Tweak encouraged him to stay in Nairo's hotel rather than with him. Tweak would later deny this with a screenshot of Zach verifying the falsehood and apologizing for any involvement that he had in his story. My question to you, Zach, is why would it be hard to get such trivial information correct when it's not even pivotal to the story? The only thing I can think of is that he was lying to protect Tweak, or as Salem would put it, this was just another fanfic skillfully woven by Zach for his own entertainment. You can't get something so basic incorrect after having a track record of lying without remorse and expect nobody to ask questions. Some people might get upset and say that I'm being biased by doing this very in-depth analysis of Zach and not Nairo. Well, the reasoning for that is I can't. Trust me, I'm not very fond of any of these people. It just so happens that everyone but Zach and his friends have very consistent stories with little to no holes. The story that Nairo told Samsora in September not only matches up with the story in October, but also the video he posted in February of this year. There's really nothing there to explore, and if there is, please let me know. As of now, there is no conclusive evidence on whether Nairo or Zach was correct, and according to Nairo's video, there probably won't be for a very long time. What we do know, however, is that Zach and Samsora are on record lying and are unable to keep both of their stories straight. My verdict? I think this goes without saying, but CaptainZack is a massive degenerate, and you don't need to worry about becoming a predator. You already are one. Where the fuck are your parents?
I only know how to add and subtract, not even divide.